The Acolyte trailer has officially dropped, and it's exactly what we saw roughly 6 months ago when it was leaked. If Disney was smart, they would have gone and just released the trailer then and went and created a new one. That way there was something new for us to go and watch, but it's the same boring crap that we got once before. The only thing that is new is the poster that was released the day before, which is a lightsaber smeared in period blood. And nothing screams call to adventure like menstruation. And this was done intentionally, folks. You can't look at this image and not see a tampon. The Acolyte is created by Leslie Headland, also known as Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant, who happens to love all the Star Wars. You know, the very woman who had no idea that Harvey Weinstein was a sexual predator. And nothing in this trailer should be surprising to us. It is the exact same DEI-driven dribble we've been seeing out of Disney Star Wars over the last several years. And we are introduced to girl bosses, more girl bosses, and even more girl bosses. But the one thing you will have a hard time finding in this trailer is more than one white male. Now, I've been an avid, diehard Star Wars fan ever since the movies came out when I was a kid. But my love of Star Wars really started to wane when the prequel movies came out. They just simply weren't as good, and it didn't live up to the headcanon that I had developed over many decades of not knowing what Lucas's plan was for the Clone Wars. And I found it to be rather disappointing. The final nail was driven into the coffin by Disney, though. When Disney bought Lucasfilm, I thought it could potentially breathe life into the franchise, and boy was I wrong. And what we got was a complete disaster out of the sequel trilogy. Each movie going forward lost more and more money, and a lot of that damage was done by The Last Jedi and the backlash that ensued around it. And everything that we've got out of Disney since the sequel trilogy has been bland, uninteresting, and filled with intersectionality. And The Acolyte, quite frankly, really is no different. Now, the one positive I have to say about the show is that it takes place 100 years before The Phantom Menace, which means that there are no legacy characters for them to go and defile, with the exception of maybe two, Chewbacca and Yoda. The trailer begins with a Jedi Master teaching a room full of very diverse Padawan learners. And it is very apparent that this show was very much so influenced by Disney's DEI standards, because there is not a single white male to be seen in this scene. And ultimately, there is nothing more ironic about this when a company brags about how inclusive it is when it goes and very much excludes a segment of the population. We are then introduced to May, played by Amanda Stenberg, who is our strong female of color protagonist. We then go and cut back to the Jedi Temple, where we get a good look at the composition of the Padawan learners. It looks like there is roughly 80% females and 20% males. In reality, this should be more like 60% male and 40% female. That would be the more realistic demographic makeup. However, this is Disney Star Wars, which we all know the Force is female. The Jedi Master asks his Padawans what do they see, where one of them responds with,
"I see fire."
"We all see fire, sweetheart. After all, this is the franchise burning itself to the ground." Amanda's character of May goes and approaches Trinity actress Keran Moss, who is presumably playing a Jedi Master, where we get the first bold and brave all-girl boss fight of the trailer. Now, presumably, Amanda's character is going to be the primary protagonist of the show, and she's getting top billing on IMDb, so I don't see why this wouldn't be the case. Apparently, she is playing a Jedi assassin and has ties to the Jedi Master at the beginning of the trailer. Presumably, she is the Acolyte that the show is named after. This June, you will be bored to tears as you are forced to endure another boring and uninteresting Star Wars product coming from Disney. Be amazed at the diversity and lack of straight white male characters. Let go of your preconceived notions and don't ask questions, and just be excited for product as you get excited for more product. Darkness rises over Disney as people simply just don't give a shit about Star Wars anymore. Be riveted by current year talking points.
It's about power and who is allowed to use it.
And nothing screams modernity like talking about power and who's allowed to wield it. Be riveted by yet another boring and unlikable Star Wars story filled with more boring and unlikable characters, moral ambiguity, and that there is no good versus evil, just sides that you'll be on. Because after all, there is no good and evil in Star Wars, it's just which side you're on. The Empire blew up a fucking planet, they're the bad guys, come on. The Acolyte, coming June 4th to a theater, I mean streaming service near you. Come on, Disney, this is Star Wars we're talking about. You should be releasing something in a theater. And like I said at the beginning of this video, there really is nothing new in this trailer. We've seen all this before 6 months ago when it was leaked. And quite frankly, it's the same crap we're going to get out of Disney Star Wars anyway. It's going to be bland, uninteresting, and morally ambiguous. That's the issue I have with what Star Wars is becoming, because it really was about good versus evil and about the redemption of an evil character. But again, like they said, there's just sides. There is no good and evil in Star Wars, which is absolutely absurd. Anyway, that's my thoughts. What are yours? Are you excited or even planning on watching The Acolyte? I'm probably going to review it begrudgingly. I'm not looking forward to it. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to go and hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and leave a comment and let me know what you think about this trailer. I'll catch you next time, folks.